A Branson businessman sued for scamming Joplin tornado victims is back in court, facing more lawsuits from customers and business partners. Investigative reporter Lauren Barnes interviewed nearly a dozen people who claimed they were duped by Brian Sides. And tonight, she brings us one of those stories.
Yeah, Steve, Brian Sides is accused of taking money from people all across southern Missouri and northern Arkansas without providing services or products he promised. I sat down with a school teacher who says Sides sweet-talked him into investing in an RV park that's gone under. But first, let's go back to where Sides' legal troubles started. The year is 2012. It's 8 months after an EF5 tornado devastated the city of Joplin, killing 161 people. Court records obtained by Cullerton Investigates show Brian Sides with Brian Sides Contracting advertised home repairs and construction to tornado victims. 3 women paid Sides about $30,000 for repairs they say he never completed. They reached out to then Missouri Attorney General Chris Koster, who took Sides to court and earned a judgment, ordering Sides to pay the women back in full. More than a decade later, judges continue to side with his customers. In June 2023, a judge in Stone County ordered Sides to pay nearly $70,000. Then in July, a similar judgment out of Greene County, a judge said Sides owes $50,000 to Springfield-based Limo Land. The latest person to take Sides to court is Dwayne Smith. He and his wife Stephanie live in Baxter County, Arkansas. They filed suit against Brian and his wife Stacy in December 2023.
How much money are you out exactly?
Well, I'd really not say, but I will say it's a very large, substantial amount of money. It's all the equity in our home.
The Smiths invested in the Sides RV park business in Mountain Home, but the Smiths say things went downhill when the Sides abandoned the park and misused their investment money.
I had to step in, take money out of retirement to cover those non-sufficient funds and deficit with the bank account for the construction loan to proceed. I was planning to be a retiring teacher, and I'm not able to do that now because of this situation.
I paid Brian Sides a visit at the address listed on county records, asking if he had any intention of repaying people. The man I believe was Sides gave me a different name and drove off.
Have hundreds of thousands of dollars in judgments against you. Yes, you do.
I might have believed his name was Zach had I not recognized Sides from his mugshot taken a few weeks prior. Law enforcement in Stone County arrested him on a warrant issued in 2023 as an out-of-state fugitive for violating Arkansas's hot check law. But he posted bond and was released. After striking out at the house, I went to talk to Stacy Sides at her business in Branson West, trying to get answers for the Smiths and others who contacted me.
Is Stacy here?
No.
Okay. We're with Cullerton. Do you know when she might be back that I could speak with her?
I didn't get the chance to ask Stacy myself, but I still had one stop left. Whispering Oaks Luxury RV Park, their joint business venture cited in the Smiths lawsuit in Mountain Home. It now sits abandoned at the end of a gravel road, accumulating unused equipment. The lawsuit aims to dissolve the RV park business and demands the Smiths be paid back. A court date has yet to be set, but Smith says he's not optimistic he'll be made whole, even if he wins.
Law enforcement and county legal systems have to recognize that people are getting hurt.
Several other people I talked to tell me Sides has scammed them or their elderly loved ones out of thousands of dollars too. They haven't filed lawsuits though because they tell me they don't want to spend more money on legal fees.
There has to be a way to stop the people from continuing this behavior and pattern and hurting people for long periods of time.
In 2022, 10 years after that judgment for the Joplin tornado victims was issued, the courts revived the judgment because Sides never paid it. It begs the question, if Missouri's top law enforcement official can't force scammers to pay up, is the justice system really capable of holding these people accountable? Steve Bailey, Cullerton Investigates the limitations of the law that airs February 11th after the Super Bowl.
Welcome back to News at 9. Cullerton investigates shady business practices. What can be done to hold people accountable under the law?
Last summer, we brought you the story of Queen City Rod and Custom and its shop manager, Reed Arnold, who's facing 3 new lawsuits since December. And then last week, we told you about Brian Sides, the man from Branson accused of ripping off elderly people. Sides has been sued 3 times in the last year. Investigative reporter Lauren Barnes explains what these cases have in common and why neither man now faces criminal charges.
I interviewed several people who filed lawsuits against Sides and Arnold and won, but they haven't been paid the money a judge says they're owed. Now they're wondering what else they can do.
And there has to be a way to stop the people from continuing this behavior and pattern and hurting people for long periods of time.
Dwayne Smith is suing Brian Sides after becoming business partners in a luxury RV park venture in Mountain Home. Court documents allege Sides abandoned the park project and his financial commitments, costing the Smiths their life savings and retirement plans. When Cullerton Investigates went to talk to Sides about the lawsuit stacking up against him, a man we believe to be Sides gave a different name and drove off.
You had hundreds of thousands of dollars in judgments against you. Yes, you do.
Neither Sides nor Arnold is facing criminal charges. Greene County Sheriff Jim Arnott says charges can be filed in cases like these if there's enough evidence.
There can be fraud in there if this is a pattern of behavior that they're doing. If it's you can prove the intent is that they never planned on doing the job in the first place, then you can make it a criminal violation. Could be merchandising fraud, could just be straight up stealing.
I reached out to sheriffs in Baxter County, Arkansas and Stone County, Missouri, where Sides is being sued. They told me Sides' case is strictly a civil matter, despite customers claiming Sides defrauded them in both jurisdictions. I also reached out to Springfield Police about allegations against Reed Arnold. Records from SPD confirm at least 3 drivers reported their vehicles stolen so that law enforcement would intervene, and they could get their cars back from the hot rod shop. The Greene County Sheriff's Office also fielded complaints about Queen City Rod and Custom. Retired Judge Dan Conklin explains the burden of proof in criminal cases is much higher than civil cases and could be one reason law enforcement agencies defer to civil court.
The sheriff has to go to a prosecutor who in turn has discretion, may or may not proceed, and the burden of proof is way heavier.
Some people, like Teresa Douglas, are avoiding court altogether. Douglas alleges Brian Sides took thousands of dollars from her and never delivered on his promises.
Have you ever thought about filing a civil lawsuit against him?
Yes, but what good would it do? Because I can win it. There's others out there, the same shape as I'm in, that has done it and won. And how are they going to get his money?
Now, the court can issue a garnishment on bank accounts, and courts have actually done so in both of these cases with Sides and Arnold. But if the accounts are empty or money is kept elsewhere, it's hard for anyone to get the money the court says they deserve. Now, Judge Conklin has a couple tips on increasing the likelihood of collecting court judgments. First off, if you're disputing less than $25,000, you can file for yourself in Associate Circuit Civil Court in Missouri, which could save you from paying attorney's fees. Conklin also says the clerk might even help you fill out the form. And if you're suing a business owner, he says it's best to put their name on the suit in addition to their business name. It can also be a good idea to name their spouse in the lawsuit. I've explained why all of that is in the article for this story on ozarksfirst.com. You can also find previous coverage of Brian Sides and Reed Arnold on our website as well. Just look under the Investigates tab. Frustrated and helpless, that's how victims of one contractor Fox 49 Investigates exposed for bad business practices says they're feeling tonight. Brian Sides avoided a court appearance and a jury trial for 2 criminal cases in separate counties set for today. Both have been postponed, one because Sides' attorney is claiming a medical emergency. I chased Sides down in February trying to get answers for victims, but he drove off. Since then, additional civil and criminal cases have popped up accusing Sides of taking money for work he never did. Mark Feltrop won a civil case against Sides for nearly $70,000, but says he hasn't been paid. He was looking forward to testifying against Sides in the Texas County trial this week.
It's par for the course. We've been so many times the past year, we think we've got him, and a court gets either postponed or he gets let off, and it's just disappointing.
Sides is now set to appear in court for both of those cases at the end of January. We hope to have a camera in the courtroom.